And what you're looking at here is a 1947 Frazer. It was built in the Willow Run bomber plant outside of Detroit. The mastermind behind this was actually two men. Henry J. Kaiser, a well-known industrialist from this time period, who made his money during the war off Liberty ships, which helped feed all of our soldiers overseas during World War II. And he had the brilliant idea that when we come back from the war, all these soldiers will need a new car. And he decided that he would go into this business and make a car. And what you're looking at is the 1947 model of a Frazer. And it was very successful from 1947 through 1950. And then the big three, Chrysler, Ford, and General Motors, caught up with, of course, their newer models. And at that point, the Frazer was in trouble. Eventually, Joseph Frazer, who was the other part of the Kaiser Frazer, Joseph Frazer left the company around 1951, approximately. And then the car became known as the Kaiser Frazer, and then later on just the Kaiser. The car is powered by a Continental 226 cubic inch 6-cylinder motor that has 100 horsepower, and it is fitted to a Borg-Warner transmission, 3-speed transmission with, believe it or not, electric overdrive. And it works, which is excellent. The tires on this car, although they have perfect tread, unfortunately the car had been in storage for many years and the sidewalls are cracked. So something will have to be done there. The hood ornament is a little unusual in that it is a flightless duck made out of black walnut. The story behind that is in 1947 the Frazer did not have a hood ornament. You could purchase accessory hood ornaments, and when I acquired this car, there were 3 holes up there and no ornament. So the flightless duck is the fill-in material that we have right now. Also, when you come around to the front of the vehicle, I would like you to notice that, let's see if we can come in here on this. They have a coat of arms. Now I'll get down here and see if I can get a better shot. There we go, right there. And at the bottom of the coat of arms, you will notice there is an expression there that says, French speakers out there, Je suis prêt. I'm not sure how you say the last word, but I did find out what it means. It means I am ready. And of course I hope that that's the case every time I start the old Frazer, and thus far it has been successful. It has a 6-volt battery system, and Frazer. It has 4 bumperettes on the front. I guess that was expensive, which it was for the time. I believe it was over $2,000 for the Frazer in 1947 dollars. It has the original two-tone colors on the car, but at some place in its past history it had a repaint, but it was done in exactly the original colors, and it looks pretty nice from 20 feet. You get close and you can see some problem areas, but apparently not rust. Also, the interior has been redone in original fabric, and that's one thing. I'll see if I can open up the trunk for you here. I hope you notice the original 1947 Michigan license plate. Out here in Michigan, if you have an original plate for a classic car, you can register that with the state, and then they let you continue to use that plate. So that's what I'm doing. I'll open up the trunk. One thing of note is in the trunk, this is a fabric supplement for the Kaiser, and it shows all the different fabrics that were available, and it was just a tremendous assortment of fabrics. I also have an original Kaiser Frazer mirror for the sun visor, but unfortunately it's cracked, and that was very interesting. Back then you had to keep close track of when you had your oil change, when you checked the battery, when you lubricated the chassis. Those were important items with a 1947 vehicle, unlike the modern cars that we have today. What I'll do right now is shut the camera off, and then I will come back and show you the motor. I'll be back in just a minute. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Old car nuts. This is the Continental 6, Flathead 6, and it has the oil filter, which on some engines was actually an accessory. You can see the 6-volt battery. It has the original radiator. That radiator has a 4-pound radiator cap, 4 pounds pressure. Very different from our modern cars that run 16 to 18 pounds pressure. And then if we come around to the other side, I'd like to point out the oil bath air cleaner. I find that most people don't know what I mean when I say an oil bath air cleaner. You never had to buy a paper filter. You simply remove the top, clean the filter, put in fresh oil, put it back on, and you're ready to go. Never buy an air filter for a 1947 car. Also, the little carburetor underneath there is a 1-barrel carburetor, and that would hopefully contribute to pretty good gas mileage. One other item that is one that most people probably wouldn't pay too much attention to, and that is the width of the fan belt. Most cars in the 40s had fairly wide fan belts, and they would rob horsepower from the engine just to run the fan belt. And you'll notice that the Frazer has a very narrow fan belt. They found that you didn't need the big fan belt in order to run the generator and the water pump. And so this one seems to do just fine. Alright, from here I think we will transfer then to the inside of the car. I'll give you a little tour on the inside of the car, and then we'll drive down the road in the 1947 Frazer. I'll be right back. Here is the inside. The upholstery has been replaced with authentic replacement materials. You can take a look back here. The back seat is very pretty, very nice job, burgundy and gray. And the headliner is very nice all the way around. Right now, nobody's using the back seat or the rear doors because there are some issues with the latch and the lock system, so I'm just leaving them alone at this point. But it's very nice, very comfortable, and especially when you turn the heater on in here, which is down there in the corner. I'll explain that to you in just a minute. Now we're focusing on the heater. I'll see if I can come in for a little closer look. I love the name on the heater. It does say Kaiser Frazer in there, but it says air conditioner. Well, remember, this is 1947, and there were a few cars back then. I think maybe Packard, possibly, maybe Cadillac, but I'm not sure. Packard, I know for sure. They actually had air conditioning systems to keep the car cool in the summer. But by the word air conditioner, what they're really talking about here is heat. And that's where all the heat comes from in this car. And it's very, very nice. It makes it very cozy in here. And so what we're going to do now, if I can do this and hang on to the camera and keep it going, I will start the car and we'll head back down the road. So let me take a look here, get positioned so that I can start this thing. First, I'll push in the clutch pedal, and I think I should also back this off so that we get a better view. There we go. Now you can see the instrumentation there. And what I'll do is I'll first turn on the ignition. It has like what you'd call a contact that turns the ignition on. I'll put the car in neutral with the clutch pedal down so it causes less strain on the starter motor. And then we will try and start it here. Alright, we're up and running now. Let's take a look at our gauges. We have the fuel gauge running almost half a tank. And then we have amp meter, good old analog gauges, forget the digital, forget the computer. And then we have our speedometer in the middle, up to 100 miles an hour. I wouldn't care to drive this at 100 miles an hour. Although there's a great article that a man many years ago, when, as a matter of fact, it was 1947, he took a Frazer, and he ran from St. Louis to Los Angeles straight as fast as he could go. And he was running this car flat out at somewhere between 70 and 80 miles an hour. His name was Floyd Clymer, and if you're interested, there's a great article that tells everything that he went through. So I would say top speed on this car is probably 70 or 80 miles an hour, but I don't think I'd care in the year 2014. I would not care to drive this at that speed. Oil pressure, I'm running probably pretty consistent, about 30 pounds pressure, maybe a little bit more when you're running down the road. And the water temperature in the radiator, we run, once it's warmed up, probably about 175 degrees. And that seems to be pretty good. Also, I want you to see this, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Take a look at that. Now, those are not electric windshield wipers. Those are vacuum windshield wipers, running off the vacuum of the motor. Uses no electricity and has cables and pulleys underneath the dashboard, and they're all working. And then, since this is a deluxe model, listen to this. That's right, a defroster. We have our own low-tech defroster that hopefully does the job in keeping the window clean in the winter. Although up here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, I probably will not be driving this in the winter time. Now, what we'll do is we're going to pull out of here. Here we go. And we'll take it nice and easy. And here we go. Here we go. Oh yes, here comes a four-wheeler. Not unusual. Up here, the four-wheelers, they just go right down the road, right along with everybody else. Okay, here we go. Second gear. Second gear. Look at that beautiful countryside there, ladies and gentlemen. That was a cornfield. And they've harvested the corn by now. Most of the corn. Okay, there's second. Here comes third. We're in third gear right now, going down a nice country road here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, far away from the bustling broad shoulders of Chicago. And now I'm going to take this out to about 40. Here we go, and listen to this now. There. That's called overdrive. And this overdrive seems to work just as smooth as the day they built this. Yeah, we're going pretty good. I'm going probably around 45 miles an hour right now in overdrive. The old Flathead 6 is purring along, 30 pounds pressure, 175 degrees on the radiator. Amp meter's charging. Fuel gauge is declining, of course. But all in all, for a 1947, it's not too shabby. It's a fun car. I've still got lots of work to do on it. But I like to drive an old car. Besides polishing it, greasing it, oiling it. That seems to go with the territory, but I enjoy driving the old cars, and especially when I run into young people. You young people out there, I highly recommend get yourself interested in old cars, because when my generation's gone, we are going to need some young people to come along and keep these old cars going. And they are different. They're not like the modern cars. You're not going to be able to plug these things into a digital piece of equipment that will analyze your problems for you. When you have a Frazer You have to solve your problems the hard way. Figure out what's wrong first. Now here we are, we're back in the driveway. Oh, by the way, it does have turn signals. And I just have to bring the lever back because there is no automatic return on the turn signals. And you'll notice we have beautiful woods over here to the right. And we come over here. We also have more woods all around us, lots of trees. You better hope that you like trees up here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Well, I think that just about wraps up your little road trip here in the Kaiser Frazer. But remember, this one being as old as it is, 1947, this one was exclusively called the Frazer. And you'll find Kaiser Frazer later on. So, I love old cars, and I thank you for listening to this story. And have a great day.